Well, welcome to today's rants. Today's rant, probably a few things I rant about. One is the weather, of course. Try to cover news, weather, and sports. Weather is awesome. A little cooler than I'd prefer it, but it is great. Of course, large section, our mountain retreat center, got about 8 inches of snow. I prayed for it not to get here, and I think my prayers were answered. We were right on the edge of the snow line, and we got a lot of rain, which we always can use. And but the snow stayed to the west and to the north of us. So if we want to see snow, we can just drive actually half an hour or so now and see all the snow you want, and then come home where there's no snow. It's warming back up a little bit. But also, let's go ahead and cover the sports. Again, report came out today how far tickets for the NFL have fallen. Some places it was unbelievable. I know the cheapest tickets in our stadium, our local stadium, NFL, for our NFL team, the lowest I've seen in a long time has been $90 to $100 for, really the cheap seats. Called the nosebleed seats. They're anyway, around the NFL, that sounds like it's pretty much the average, the way it's been going. There's some seats that you can buy for a single game for $1,000 retail. And it's just unbelievable, the cost of going to an NFL game, especially if you want to take your family. But they were going this weekend for as little as $10. One place they said for $2. $2 you could get into an NFL game. Something's going on. They're still not getting the message. They just gave their commissioner a brand new contract. It's the craziest thing I've ever heard of. To give someone who probably cost your sport billions of dollars over the next few years by incompetent leadership, failure to be decisive at the right time, and it is going to cost everybody big time. It's ultimately going to cost the players. They start coming back for contracts. Eventually, they're going to be way below their present standard. I'm just saying, that's just what happens when you make a big mistake like that. Protest, freedom of speech, everybody believes in, but you don't do it by insulting your flag, insulting your country, insulting your veterans, the military, those who are presently serving, which you do all that when you insult the flag. And your fan base, most of the fan base of the NFL, these are the very ones that were insulted, and it's hurting them big time already. So obviously viewership is down, way down. It's tragic. But so there's your weather and sports. Now I want to talk about the news. There is a revolution going on in the natural and the spiritual. And this one I talked about doing, starting Rants 2.0 next year, where I'm going to change the format a little bit, and I'm going to move towards it a little bit until the first of the year. And after the first of the year, what I hope to do then, barring, there will be some exceptions when the news takes over and we just need to talk about it. But I want to talk about things happening in the natural and how they're being reflected in the spiritual. And we have a revolution going on in the natural. It's just getting traction, a little bit of traction. Virtually the whole country is outraged at the establishment, both parties. They're outraged at our dysfunctional government, outraged at our dysfunctional judiciary, and there's all the, I think potential material needed for a revolution in our country at this time. Now, my prayer is it does not become a violent one, and it doesn't have to. And I think the revolution that people want is actually, whether they even know it or understand it or not, what they're crying for is what was won in the first revolution and what we've so far departed from. Departed from by departing from our Constitution, departing from the procedure, failing to heed the warnings of our founding fathers. And, the only commandment with a promise, and the promise being that it go well with us and we dwell long in the land that the Lord has given to us, both Old and New Testaments. That commandment is in both Testaments. And the promise is, if we will honor our fathers and mothers, it will go well. We'll stay long in the land. If we don't, we're going to get booted out. And it's not going to go well. Things are not going well right now. Just because things are going well in the economy doesn't mean they're going well. I mean, we have these terrible revelations of, sexual harassment and abuse and all kinds of stuff, evil surfacing, that we have fallen so far as a nation. And so, the answer is, let's start honoring our fathers and mothers. One of the ways we honor them is we listen to what they tried to teach us. And I think we need to go back to the warnings of our founding fathers. Two of the major ones that they gave that seem absolutely accurate and applicable to today, warnings they gave us, they said, if these three, was actually three things, if these three things happen, we're not going to make it. There's no way the republic can survive. Those three were, we had to be a moral and religious people. John Adams said this Constitution will only work for a moral and religious people. And according to God's and man's definitions of morality, we have departed far from those standards. We've departed from our faith, from our religion. It's not going well. Second thing, if the people learn that they could vote for themselves the resources of the treasury, and that's happened a long time ago, where people have been elected for a long time on their promises of using the treasury of the United States to take care of their congressional districts, their people, everything else, and really that's happening, and that's why it's unraveling. That's why we've got this huge Damocles sword of 20 trillion in debt hanging over the country. It could explode on us at any time. And then the third thing, what Jefferson warned about, wrote extensively on, the judicial tyranny. What he called judicial tyranny, I think it's gone beyond tyranny. It's now hit judicial anarchy. And, even our Supreme Court doing things wildly unconstitutional. And nobody's checking them. Nobody's calling them on it. Nobody's had the courage to stand up to that. And except, at one time, a few people have, and the repercussions have been terrible. And Tom DeLay was one. He just started to speak out against this. He got indicted under a law that didn't even exist, and then run out of the Congress. He's the third most powerful man in our Congress, and he's run out. Spent $10 to $12 million of his own money to clear his name. He was, recently exonerated. He was innocent of everything. Well, he lost everything in the meantime. So, but there's a price to be paid. Listen, there's revolutionaries that are rising up, and I think they're going to take back our government in the natural. I think they're going to restore us to our foundations, to our constitutional foundations. It's just happening. I think Trump is one of them. I don't think he's even begun what he's supposed to do. I said in the beginning, when I started saying this guy's going to get elected, he's got a call of God on his life, he's going to be there. And I also started saying he's not going to get much traction until the second year of his administration. Actually, he has done far more than I ever dreamed he would in the first year. it is shocking how much he's gotten done already. But I think he's positioned now to continue this revolution of restoring us to sound government, to wise government, to well-managed government, to a government that really does serve the people instead of the other way around. And I think he's got to be joined by others. Okay, so that's what's going on in the natural in the U.S. I am very excited about it, but I'm far more excited about what's going on in the spiritual. I think the same kind of spiritual revolution is about to happen. You know, true Christianity in its purest form is the most revolutionary force the world has ever seen. By far, no comparison. And it's a revolution of setting the captives free, healing the sick, healing the land, every good thing that we need. And I think we're seeing, you know, just like I look at our church founding fathers being the first day apostles, fathers and mothers, the first century apostles. And I think we're going to have a return to true apostolic Christianity, apostolic faith, apostolic results, where even two beat up apostles wander into a town or city, a major city, the whole city's going to tremble because of their spiritual authority. I think that revolution is unfolding, just like our revolution. I mean, it took once the spark was ignited, and it was almost inevitable revolution is coming. It still took a couple of years to unfold. And I think we're in the last 2 years before a major spiritual revolution comes upon the earth to restore us to our biblical foundations, just like the one, the natural, is going to restore us to our natural foundations. So we'll be talking more about this in the days to come. Thank you for joining today's Rant.